That's what separates the forgettable from the untouchable. You see, the dark doesn't test you, it refines you. Fear what walks calmly through it, unshaken, unbothered, unreadable. Because deep down, you already know. The most dangerous person in any room is the one who doesn't flinch. The one whose silence feels heavier than fists. The one whose presence feels like a warning. The one who learned to move without being seen and strike without being heard. Listen carefully. This world doesn't respect the loud, the emotional, or the dramatic. It respects the control. It respects the discipline. It respects the people who don't need the light to find their path because they carved their way through the dark long ago. And now it's your turn. You don't grow when things are comfortable. You grow when everything feels heavy. When you're tired but keep moving. When life hits you hard and you don't ask why me. You simply reset your stance and wait for the next hit. That's what separates the forgettable from the untouchable. You see, the dark doesn't test you, it refines you. It strips away your excuses. It removes your illusions. It shows you exactly who you really are when no one's watching. And most people collapse there. But not you. Because if you're still listening, you already feel that pull the instinct to step into places others run from, to take on challenges others avoid, to face the pressure most people crumble beneath. You're not afraid of the dark. You're afraid of meeting the version of yourself who thrives in it. But it's time you meet them. Pain is not a punishment. It's information. Most people react emotionally to pain. They panic. They break. They complain. But the ones who ride, they observe. They analyze. They adapt. Pain isn't there to destroy you. It's there to sharpen you. It teaches you what needs fixing. It shows you what needs strengthening. It reveals where you're still vulnerable. Every hit is data. Every setback is feedback. Every failure is experience carved straight into your bones. The dark teaches you to stop crying at the weight and start studying. That's how killers are made. That's how legends are born. Control is more powerful than strength. Anyone can be strong for a moment. Anyone can be confident when things are easy. Anyone can talk big when there's no pressure. But control, that's where true dominance lives. Control over your thoughts. Control over your reactions. Control over your impulses. Control over your emotions. Control even when everything around you is chaos. Because power without control is just noise. Danger without discipline is just stupidity. You don't want to be wild. You want to be precise, cold, calculated, unpredictable, ruthless. A storm that doesn't announce itself, it simply hits. This is the mindset that separates the fear from the forgotten. Most people are soft because they depend on feelings. The world has trained people to believe that their feelings matter more than their actions. They want motivation before they start. They want the perfect move before they work. They want comfort while chasing goals that require discomfort. That's why they stay average. Because they follow their emotions instead of commanding. But you can't afford to move like that. If you want to walk in darkness with confidence, you must stop caring about how you feel and start caring about what needs to be done. Do it tired. Do it stressed. Do it uncomfortable. Do it angry. Do it alone. Do it unseen. Your discipline must be stronger than your mood. Your actions must be louder than your excuses. Your will must override your weakness. That's how you build a presence. It silences rooms without saying a word. People underestimate the quiet ones, the ones who don't brag. The ones who don't show off are the ones who don't chase attention. But silence is not weakness. Silence is control. You listen more. You observe more. You notice things others miss. You move with intention instead of noise. The dangerous ones are never the loudest. They're the ones who watch, who wait, who strike only when the moment is perfect. You don't need to talk to prove anything. You don't need validation. You don't need applause. You don't need eyes on you. Let your actions do the introduction. Let your results do the talking. Let your presence do the intimidation. That's the way of the one who walks in darkness. Nobody cares what you could have been. Nobody respects potential without proof. Nobody listens to excuses because everyone has them. In the end, the world only responds to one thing. What did you do? Did you show up? Did you execute? Did you finish? Did you rise? Did you endure? Did you dominate? The world will not reward your dreams and your discipline. Not your emotions, only your execution. Not your intentions, only your impact. If you want power, earn it through action, not imagination. You don't need light when you become your own weapon. Most people only move forward when life feels bright and comfortable. But the ones who win, they walk through storms with steady breathing. They go through hell with calm eyes. They trust their steps, even when the path disappears, because their strength isn't external, it's internal. They don't rely on luck. They don't wait for motivation. They don't depend on hope. They build themselves so solid that no environment can weaken them. They become their own anchor, their own compass, their own weapon, their own protection. That's what walking in darkness means. You don't need the light anymore. You weren't made to be ordinary. Everyone feels the pull towards greatness at least once. Most ignore it. Most suppress it. Most fear it. Because greatness requires sacrifice, discipline, isolation, pain, pressure, and a level of self-control most people will never taste. But if you're still here, still listening, still breathing through every line, you're not most people. You are built for something sharper, something colder, something heavier, something far deeper than mediocrity. Your instincts know it. Your silence knows it. Your hunger knows it. You don't fear the dark, you fear that you belong. Because the dark is not evil. It's clarity. It's honesty. It's where everything fake disappears. And maybe part of you know that you are not like them. Not fragile. Not clueless. Not scattered. Not emotional. You're something else. Something steadier. Something harder. Something built for pressure and sharpened by solitude. You don't fear the dark. You fear stepping into your real nature. But today, you stop running from it. Step forward into the dark without fear, without noise, without doubt. Because once you choose this path, you don't need the world to understand you. You don't need validation. You don't need approval. You only need discipline, precision, focus, silence, consistency, control. Walk like someone who has already survived things others couldn't handle. Move like someone who has nothing to prove, but everything to build. Stand like someone who doesn't fear the unknown, because they are the unknown. Remember this, you don't fear the dark, you fear the one who walks in it. Now start walking. But before you start walking, understand something clearly. Once you step into this version of yourself, you don't get to return to softness. You don't get to pretend you're fragile. You don't get to hide behind excuses. You don't get to live like everyone else. Because the dark changes you. It pulls the truth out of your bones. It exposes every weakness you tried to bury. It forces you to confront the parts of yourself you were never brave enough to face. And if you want to survive that, you must become colder than your past, sharper than your failures, and quieter than your fears. You must learn to close your mouth and open your eyes. You must learn to move with purpose, not panic. You must learn to strike with precision, not rage. You must learn to stay calm even when your entire world is shaking. Because chaos doesn't care who you are, but it respects those who stand unfazed. Most people break in silence. They crumble when no one is watching. They fall apart when the world goes quiet. But you're going to build yourself in that silence. You're going to carve discipline into your spine. You're going to develop a mind that does not bend, even when everything around you is snapping. That is the dark's gift, not comfort and not hope, but clarity. You'll start noticing things, like how people speak loudly when they're insecure, how people brag when they're weak, how people chase validation because they have nothing real to stand on. But the one who walks in darkness doesn't need validation, doesn't need recognition, doesn't need applause. You don't chase attention, you attract fear. Not because you tried to, but because people can feel when someone has been through hell and didn't flinch. They can sense when someone has survived storms they didn't talk about. They can feel when someone has control instead of chaos. Powerful people don't announce themselves. They're revealed in pressure. And that's the life you're choosing. A life where your actions speak louder than every word you'll ever say. A life where your silence is deadly. A life where your presence feels like gravity. A life where your discipline hits harder than any punch ever could. You won't need motivation. You'll move because it's who you are. You won't need confidence. You'll operate through instinct. You won't need encouragement. You'll build your own momentum. Because the dark doesn't give you comfort. It gives you responsibility. Responsibility to become someone who doesn't break. Responsibility to become someone who doesn't fold. Responsibility to become someone whose strength isn't loud, but undeniable. And once the world realizes you don't fear pressure, you don't fear pain, you don't fear failure, you don't fear isolation, it will fear you. Not the kind of fear that comes from aggression, but the kind that comes from understanding. You cannot be influenced. You cannot be manipulated. You cannot be controlled. You move on your terms. You fight on your terms. You build on your terms. You walk on your terms. And the people who depend on validation will never understand that. They need noise. They need silence. They need comfort. They need friction. They need witnesses. They need results. Because the one who walks in darkness doesn't chase it. He waits. He watches. He chooses. He strikes only when necessary. Cold, efficient. No wasted energy. No wasted motion. No wasted emotion. That is the level you are training for. In a won't happen in one night. It won't happen in a week. It won't happen because you feel motivated. It will happen because you show up every single day, bruised but not broken, tired but not done, silent but not weak, focused but not fragile. One day you'll wake up and realize something terrifying. You don't panic anymore. You don't overthink anymore. You don't complain anymore. You don't need anything from anyone. You become the storm. You become the threat. You become the one who walks through darkness as if it was home. Not because you wanted to become feared, but because you refuse to stay weak. And when people look at you, they won't understand where it came from. They won't see the silent battles. They won't see the lonely nights. They won't see the pain you didn't talk about. They won't see the demons you buried quietly. All they'll see is the outcome. Someone unshaken. Someone unreadable. Someone unstoppable. Someone they can't predict, control, or underestimate. They will call it talent. They will call it luck. They will call it natural ability. But you will know the truth. It was built in the dark, crafted in the dark, sharpened in the dark, forged in silence, perfected in pain. And when you finally step into the world as the version of yourself you've been building, the world will understand the truth they avoided their entire lives. They never feared the darkness. They feared the one who learned to walk inside it. Now keep walking. Slow, calm, controlled. Because the dark isn't your enemy, it's your territory. And you're not done claiming it. Listen, there's something you need to understand before you take another step. Power doesn't come from what you show the world. Power comes from what you refuse to show. The world teaches you to broadcast everything, your goals, your feelings, your struggles, your plans. But the strongest ones, they move in silence so deep that people can't tell whether they're preparing or already finished. You don't talk about what you're building. You let them choke on the result. You don't warn anyone about what's coming. You let the impact speak for you. You don't announce your presence. Your presence announces itself. Because the one who walks through darkness doesn't need light. He becomes the thing the light fears. And that's where you're headed now. The world doesn't respect words. It respects proof. Anyone can talk brave. Anyone can talk strong. Anyone can pretend they're dangerous on the internet. But pressure exposes every lie. You're not here to act like a threat. You're here to become a consequence. Silent, precise, measured, unfazed. You do the work that others avoid. You take the hits they cry about. You face the truth they run from. And you keep your mouth shut while doing it. Because the moment you stop needing recognition, you become unstoppable. The world can't break a person who doesn't need its approval. Control is your real weapon. Not strength. Not speed. Not talent. Control. Control over your reactions when someone tries to provoke you. Control over your face when life throws chaos at you. Control over your breathing when pressure tries to crush your lungs. Control over your emotions when everyone else is falling apart. A control man isn't predictable. He's unreadable. And unreadable is dangerous. People don't know what triggers you. People don't know what scares you. People don't know what you're thinking. They only know one thing. You don't flinch. Ever. That's where fear begins, in uncertainty. And you are becoming a person whose intentions can't be guessed, whose movements can't be tracked, whose strength can't be measured until it's too late. Most people break under pressure. You get sharp. There's a moment in everyone's life, nod, where everything collapses at once. Health, money, relationships, confidence. Most crumble. Most freeze. Most drown in their own panic. But the one who walks in darkness, he doesn't collapse. He calculates. He doesn't panic, adjusts. He doesn't beg, adapts. Pressure doesn't suffocate him. Pressure sculpts him. Every hardship becomes a tool. Every setback becomes leverage. Every scar becomes information. And while the world stares at its own wounds, you'll be sharpening your instincts in silence. The dangerous ones aren't angry. They're aware. Anger is loud. Desperation is loud. Ego is loud. Awareness is quiet. Awareness is walking into a room and seeing everything, every weakness, every lie, every intention without saying a word. Awareness is knowing who's pretending, who's panicking, who's hiding fear behind their voice. Awareness is what makes you move that chara without hesitation, because you've already calculated what needs to be done. Violence isn't what makes someone dangerous. Understanding is. Precision is. Silence is. A blade is only deadly when the one holding it knows exactly where to strike. Isolation is not a curse. It is training. Most people feel lonely because they cannot sit with themselves. They need noise to escape their own thoughts. They need people to distract them from their emptiness. They need attention to feel alive. But the strongest ones, they treat isolation like a forge. Time alone becomes clarity. Time alone becomes discipline. Time alone becomes self-awareness. Time alone becomes transformation. Solitude shows you who you are without the world's expectations. And if you can survive yourself and no one else can break you, you are not here to be seen. You are here to be felt. Some people want the spotlight. Let them have it. They burn fast and fade quickly. You're not chasing visibility. You're building inevitability. A presence that hits harder than any punch. A silence that makes people tense. A confidence that doesn't need to speak. You don't demand respect. You command it. You don't intimidate, you exist. And people feel the weight of it. That is real power. The kind nobody sees coming until it's right in front of them. And here's the part you must accept. If you choose this path of silence, discipline, precision, you will outgrow people. You will outgrow their habits. You will outgrow their excuses. You will outgrow their fears. You will outgrow their softness. And they will resent you for it. They'll say you changed. They'll say you became cold. They'll say you became distant. Good. Because you're not here to stay relatable. You're here to become undeniable. The dark doesn't raise friendly people. It raises focused people. It raises disciplined people. It raises people who move without hesitation. It raises the kind of person whom others think twice before approaching. Not because you're cruel, but because your energy makes it clear you are not on their level anymore. So listen to this carefully. If you're going to walk in the dark, walk with intention. Walk with clarity. Walk with purpose. Walk with calm violence in your spirit. Walk like someone who isn't afraid of endings. Walk like someone who understands sacrifice. Walk like someone who has already buried shell their weakers are. Because the dark only bends to those who are willing to stop bending. And you're done bending. So keep moving. Controlled. Silent. Focused. Unshakable. Because the world doesn't fear the darkness. The world fears the one who learned how to breathe inside it. And you're becoming exactly that.